A very good morning to all of you and welcome to the session. 7 English enrichment inputs. Let us start with the question, what are the 7 enrichments today? The first one, comprehension skill. Today's context is fishing, a dispute between two countries, India and Sri Lanka. The editorial discusses the ongoing fisheries dispute between India and Sri Lanka. And based on this editorial, based on the context, you are going to learn 7 important words: wean away, impound, poach. This is very important. Sometimes you get this as a passage. And today I'm going to show, based on this word, how to create a word map. Apprehend, convene, revive, club. Writing skill, only once I have received from a few students. It is better if you keep writing and posting about poaching. Poaching is an important topic. If you write, that helps in the long run. Effective English, I have brought 5 idioms: out of the woods, paper tiger, play second fiddle, puffed up, put in a word. As usual, grammar, there's so much to learn from today's editorial. Grammar rules, every day one rule. And exam topics, today you're going to work on errors, but not the regular pattern. Each error, each sentence, you have to spot 2 errors. Idioms, foreign words. Let us go to input 1, effective vocabulary. Vocabulary is very important. Any competitive exam, otherwise also in one's career, if you want to become good at English, you've got to be good at vocabulary. But exam point of view, what are the exam topics? Word usage, word swap, fillers, synonyms, antonyms. In the passage, meanings of the words based on the context, close test, word combinations, exact words. All these come under exam topics, extremely useful. Let us see what the first word is. Wean away. Wean away is a phrasal verb. First, we'll see the context, then we'll go to the meaning. India's fisher folk must be weaned away from bottom trawling. What do you understand from the context? Must be. It is in, don't think of grammar at this stage. Must be weaned away from something, from bottom trawling. Because the context is related to a particular problem or a dispute, you should understand fishermen or fisherfolk must be stopped doing something. Doing what in this context? Bottom trawling. Now let us see the meaning. To gradually withdraw or detach someone from something, especially a habit or dependency. It goes with a negative context. Wean away from a bad habit, usually. Look at the example. The counselor helped the patients wean away from their addiction to nicotine. Wean away from their addiction means stop that habit. Synonyms: detach, disengage, separate. Antonyms: attach, bind, connect. Poach, an important word, but when we go to grammar section, there I'm going to give more information. Here, part of speech verb. Look at the context. The Sri Lankan Navy had carried out an operation on June 25th morning to chase away a cluster of Indian poaching trawlers. Chase away. Because they're doing something wrong, they wanted to chase away. That is contextual awareness. That means poaching is a negative word in Sri Lankan waters. And one more clue for you: Indian trawlers, Indian poaching trawlers in Sri Lankan waters. That means something illegal. Indian trawlers cannot be in Sri Lankan waters, they cannot do fishing. From that, you can understand the word poaching is a negative word, it has a negative connotation. See the meaning: illegally hunting or capturing animals or fish. Illegally hunting or capturing animals or fish on someone else's property or protected areas, national parks, sanctuaries, or some other country. Example: the rangers are trying to stop the poaching of endangered species in the national park. Illegal hunting, trespassing, theft. Conservation, protection, lawful hunting. Impound, an important word, part of speech verb. See the context first. A trawler vessel was impounded. It is in past tense passive voice. From that you should understand. And 10 fishermen apprehended. That means they must have captured, they must have seized, and 10 fishermen apprehended. Next slide, you have the meaning of this word. Of whom 8 were from Tamil Nadu and the rest from Andhra Pradesh. What is the meaning of impounded? To seize and take legal custody of something. In this context, trawlers, typically because of an infringement of a law or regulation, violation of law or regulation, they seize, impound. The police impounded the car of the driver after the driver was found without a valid license. Imagine there's no license, then the car is going to be impounded. Yes, synonyms are confiscate, seize, detain, release, a free return. Apprehend is also an important word, part of speech verb. A trawler vessel was impounded, seized, and 10 fishermen apprehended. Means you have to guess either they were held or they have been detained or they have been arrested. What is the meaning? To arrest someone for a crime or to understand or perceive something. They want information, they may arrest, or for some crime, they may arrest. The police were able to apprehend the suspect shortly after the robbery. Arrest the suspect after the robbery. Arrest, capture, seize. Release, free, let go. Revive, we have got many a time. This is an opportunity for the two countries to revive the negotiation process. Actually, something happened, and based on that, the editorial says there's an opportunity. Then we can think of the expression, idiom, blessing in disguise. What is the meaning of blessing in disguise? Something negative happens, but later it proves to be positive. Then we say it was a blessing in disguise. Based on that, revive the negotiation process means restart, a positive word, to restore to life or consciousness, to give new strength or energy to. We have got this many a time. The paramedics were able to revive the unconscious man after he collapsed. What are the synonyms? Resuscitate, an important word, rejuvenate, restore, suppress, extinguish, kill, simple words. Convene, this is also an important word, though we have got a few times. Mr. Stalin has done well to remind Mr. Jaishankar to convene a meeting. You can understand what does it mean, convene a meeting, organize a meeting, convene. Someone has to gather or garner or assemble people. Then we use convene. Of the joint working group last held virtually over 2 years ago, meaning to come together or assemble, usually for some public purpose. People come on their own, that is one thing, but here someone brings people to a particular place, then he is a convener, convene. The board of directors will convene next week to discuss the new project. They will assemble to discuss the new project. He has convened a meeting. Usually it goes with meeting. Assemble, gather, meet. Disperse, adjourn does not go with this, scatter. Those are the words from today's source, input one. Now let us go to input two, comprehension skill to improve. For that, you have to read regularly because reading comprehension skill, the most important skill to clear mains. And what are the exam topics you have? Passage, close test, parajumbles, scrambled sentences, paragraph related, all these are important. They are based on comprehension skill. I will read, you also read. I will give time for you to read, then I will read out. Only read the stimulus. What is a stimulus? Net damage, because it is a dispute related to fisheries, symbolically, net damage. On the fisheries dispute, India and Sri Lanka. But something happened that is a stimulus related to fishing in Sri Lanka. But what is the main idea? Again, you read this. India's fisherfolk must be weaned away from. India's fisherfolk must be weaned away. Here, you should understand, taken away from what? From bottom trawling. For Tamil Nadu fishermen, it has become a habit to go to Sri Lanka and fish over there illegally. Based on that, that habit has to be stopped. They should be uh, urged or persuaded to stop that habit. Based on that, must be weaned away from bottom trawling. What is the habit? Bottom trawling, two things here. One, bottom trawling is not good for marine ecosystem. It has to be stopped. Second, they are using this bottom trawling not in Indian waters, in Sri Lankan waters, illegally. That is clearly illegal. Even that has to be stopped. Please read this. I hope you guys are reading because I'm giving you time. Tight schedule, I'm giving you time to read. The resumption of fishing off India's eastern coast, including the Park Bay, after the annual 61-day ban on fishing, has led to the death of a sailor from the Sri Lanka Navy. How do you read a sentence like this? Here, the subject is the resumption. Then we have a phrase of fishing. Resumption of what? Ask the question. Of fishing. Where? Ask the question. Of India's eastern coast, including, you can include this also, including the Park Bay. When? Ask the question. After the annual 61-day ban on fishing. After all this, the subject is the resumption, you have the verb. In between, see, so many phrases have been used. The resumption has led to the death of a sailor from the Sri Lanka Navy. This is a stimulus to write the editorial. The Sri Lankan Navy had carried out an operation on June 25th morning to chase away a cluster of Indian poaching trawlers in Sri Lankan waters off Kanakasanturai near Jaffna. This talks about a particular operation. In that operation, one Sri Lankan Navy, a sailor from the Sri Lanka Navy, died. What is the operation? Chasing away Indian trawlers. The Sri Lankan Navy had carry out means to execute, an operation on June 25th morning. What is this operation? Chase away a cluster of Indian poaching trawlers in Sri Lankan waters. That is not legal. Off Kanakasanturai near Jaffna. A trawler vessel, in that operation, what exactly happened when they tried to chase away? Net result, a trawler vessel was impounded and 10 fishermen apprehended, of whom 8 were from Tamil Nadu and the rest from Andhra Pradesh. They seized a trawler vessel and arrested 10 fishermen. Of the 10 fishermen, 8 belonged to Tamil Nadu, others Andhra Pradesh, from Andhra Pradesh. I read this one. Yes. Please focus on the comprehension skill. While reading, focus on that. There have also been several cases of Indian fishermen from Tamil Nadu dying too. This says one Sri Lankan sailor of Sri Lankan Navy died. On the other hand, there have been several cases of Indian Tamil Nadu fishermen dying too. Based on that, the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, Mr. M.K. Stalin, sought the intervention of the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar in releasing the vessel and the men. Vessel seized and here impounded, and the men apprehended, arrested. Based on that, Tamil Nadu, because they belong to Tamil Nadu's CM wanted the help of External Affairs Minister Jaishankar. He sought the intervention. He wanted Mr. Jaishankar to intervene and sort out the problem. In that process, release the vessel and the men. In his reply sent to the Chief Minister on Thursday, Mr. Jaishankar said the Indian High Commission had been seeking the early release of 34 fishermen in judicial remand and 6 others who were serving sentences. Mr. Jaishankar responded. In his response, what did he say? The Indian High Commission had been seeking the early release of 34 fishermen in judicial remand, custody, and 6 others, they have been sentenced and serving the sentence. 6 others who were serving sentences. I read this one. This is an opportunity for the two countries to revive the negotiation process exclusively to deal with the fisheries dispute, which became aggravated in the wake of the 1974 and 1976 bilateral agreements to demarcate the maritime boundary lines. What does the sentence convey? Though something negative happened, it is an opportunity. There is an opportunity, feels the editorial. This is an opportunity for the two countries to revive the negotiation process, and this negotiation process exclusively related to fisheries dispute. And this dispute got aggravated. Aggravate means what? To become worse. In the wake of 1974-1976 bilateral agreements regarding what? To demarcate the maritime boundary lines. Mr. Stalin has done well to remind Mr. Jaishankar to convene a meeting of the joint working group last held virtually over 2 years ago. In a way, editorial appreciates that Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Mr. Stalin has done well. Has done well in which context? To remind Mr. Jaishankar to convene a meeting of the joint working group, and it was last held when not in real, virtually over 2 years ago. The acts of Indian fishermen crossing the international maritime boundary line, acts of Indian fishermen crossing, here also you can, crossing the international maritime boundary line are clearly illegal. As I said, from Indian waters, they are entering Sri Lankan waters and they're doing bottom trawling. That is illegal. Editorial also opines the same. Factors relating to protection, please read now on. Factors relating to protection of livelihood opportunities cannot be de-linked from the importance of the preservation of the marine ecosystem. Livelihood opportunity is important. The factors, what are the factors? Factors are important, but they cannot be de-linked from the importance of preservation of the marine ecosystem. Livelihoods are important. At the same time, preservation of marine ecosystems is also important. Because of this bottom trawling, marine ecosystem is getting affected, and that cannot be, we cannot de-link. But there should be a solution. A gradual replacement of bottom trawlers being used by Tamil Nadu fishermen is a must. And all of a sudden, we cannot tell the fishermen stop this. Then they cannot survive. There should be gradual transition, and there should be a solution. What is the suggestion given by the editorial? A gradual replacement of bottom trawlers being used by the Tamil Nadu fishermen is a must. There is no choice. They have to be replaced. But how? But the fisher folk require time to prepare for diversification. We cannot expect them to change all of a sudden. They need some time for diversification. What is this diversification? Deep sea fishing, marine cage farming, seaweed cultivation and processing, and sea ranching. These are the alternative sources. The experiences of the deep sea fishing project being executed by, please go through, the Union and Tamil Nadu governments are clear enough to conclude that it is a failure. After that, you can read. After here, a statement has been made that project is a failure. To substantiate this information, after nearly 7 years of implementation, only 61 deep sea fishing vessels have been handed over to beneficiaries. Only 61, with 19 more under construction. It would be thoughtful better if the union government clubs combines the project with an all India program where the unit cost of a deep sea fishing vessel is 40 lakh higher, at least to get a better response even at this stage. A proposal from the editorial to do something. Club the project with an all India program where the unit cost of a deep sea fishing vessel is 40 lakh higher, at least to get a better response even at this stage. The unit cost of a deep sea, read this part. The unit cost of a deep sea fishing vessel under the Center State project is 80 lakh. It provides an insight into the cost of the shipping vessel or fishing vessel. New Delhi and Colombo can devise additional schemes to help the northern provinces fishermen even more. This is also a suggestion from the editorial. New Delhi and Colombo can devise additional schemes to help the northern provinces fishermen even more. But what is more important is that the two countries, representatives of the fishing community, and officials from Tamil Nadu and the northern province should meet soon to find a way out of the dispute. It ends on this note, a suggestion. What is it? All these people should meet soon to find a solution. Find a way out means to find a solution of the dispute. That's all about this source. Let us go to questions, input to comprehension skill, questions and answers. What prompted the editorial on fisheries, on the fisheries dispute between India and Sri Lanka? A new trade agreement? No. The death of a Sri Lankan sailor during an operation to chase away Indian trawlers, clearly mentioned. A joint fishing expedition? No. Inauguration of a new fishing harbor? No. What method of fishing used by Tamil Nadu fishermen is highlighted as problematic in the editorial? Longline fishing? No. Drift net fishing? No. Spear fishing? No. What is the main problem? Bottom trawling. What has been the primary consequence of the 1974-76 bilateral agreements between India and Sri Lanka according to the editorial? Aggravated, editorial says. Improved trade relations? No. Clear demarcation of marine boundary lines? No. Aggravation of the fisheries dispute. Increased tourism? No. Aggravation of the fisheries dispute because of these agreements. Aggravated. What sustainable alternatives to bottom trawling are suggested in the editorial? Editorial says fishermen cannot change overnight and they have to, bottom trawlers have to be replaced. That's a must. But what are the alternatives? Inland aquaculture? No. Industrial fishing? No. All these have been listed out. Deep sea fishing, marine cage farming, seaweed cultivation, and sea ranching. Recreational fishing? No. Answer is C. How successful has a deep sea fishing project been according to the editorial? Negative. One word has been used, failure. Successful? No. Somewhat successful? No. A complete failure with no vessels handed over. No, they handed over some vessels. Then you cannot consider C. Largely unsuccessful with only 61 vessels handed over in nearly 7 years. Grammar inputs. This is what very important. Let me check the time. The resumption. Resumption is a noun form. What is the verb form? Resume. Resume means to start again. One meaning. You start some work, you take a break. After the break, you start again. Resume. Resume the work. Resume the talks. Resume the negotiations. But there's another word you have to recollect. Actual word, French word, I suppose, we have to pronounce as a resume. But now, because of Americans, we say resume. That goes with your CV, all about you yourself in brief. Both you have to recollect. The Sri Lankan Navy had carry out means to execute an operation on June 25th morning to chase away a cluster of Indian poaching trawlers. As I said, when you see the word poaching, you should create a mini map, word map. What is it? Word map. First, you have to write the word flora, plants of a region, fauna, animals of a region, and today endangered means threatened. If we don't do anything, then they become extinct. Then we have to write these people, they smuggle, that is known as contraband. And customs officials, what do? They confiscate, another important word. You have to recollect all these words. flora, fauna, endangered, extinct, contraband, confiscate, preservation, conservation, all these words. There have also been several cases. In the exam, they may give this as a source, as one of the sentences under error location. Here, cases. Based on that, we have to use have. In the exam, they may give there has been several cases. No. Noun is in the plural form, then we have to use the verb in the plural form. And many students think the moment they see been passive voice. No. Here it is in present perfect. Active voice or passive voice? Active voice, which became aggravated, was in the wake of. In the wake of means as a consequence of, as a result of. You should also recollect the word aftermath, in the wake of. But the fisher folk means related to a rural or a village, representing traditions. Based on this, we have combinations like folk music, folk dance, folk songs, folk medicine. Someone has added all these. It would also be thoughtful if the union government club as such, noun, in it is something like this, a wooden thing, and you hold it, you try to hit someone with that. This is a club noun. And if you hit someone with that club, that is a verb. But in the context of the editorial club, a verb, it means to combine, different meanings, combine, exactly. Here it means combine. In the context, combine. Based on the context, the meaning changes. Effective English input 4, effective English inputs. Idioms, phrasal verbs, foreign words. Today I have brought foreign words also, idioms. Out of the woods means what? Safe. In this part of the world, we say forests. Excuse me. Same meaning. Paper tiger seems to be powerful but not powerful. Play second fiddle, have a subordinate position. Puffed up, filled with pride. Put in a word, speak on someone's behalf. Now, input 5, grammar rules. One rule a day. I'll try to increase the number. Read this sentence and tell me whether it is right or wrong. One should always respect his parents. Wrong. Here the subject is one, indefinite pronoun. Then we have to say one's parents. What is the rule here? If the indefinite pronoun one is a subject, we should use one or ones in the sentence, not people use not a personal pronoun, they use a personal pronoun or a possessive pronoun. We cannot use. Here, possessive pronoun, not correct. We have to use one or ones. Another example, one should not forget what he has to do. Wrong. One should not forget what one has to do. Very important rule you have to remember. Writing skill inputs only once I got, but still I request you guys, please write about poaching. Whatever you know, you write. That helps. Exam topics inputs. All these are exam topics, and today, first you listen. Here you have a sentence, three questions. In each sentence, there are two errors, not one error. You have to spot two errors. As neighbors objected to she entering the apartment, she has to return. Here we have the gerund. Before a gerund, when you have to use a pronoun, it should not be in the subject form, object form. It should be in the possessive form. Then her entering, first error. And already over, she has to return, not correct. It should be she had to return, second error. The viruses are sensitive to humidity and are less likely to thrive at moderate levels of humidity. A series of experimental studies over the years has shown. Here, first error, a series, and second, has shown, not correct, have shown. Doctors are imprisoned for months despite of, immediately you know it is not correct, having devoted themselves to the care of some of the most vulnerable among us. Here, there is a preposition. After that, there is a word. It begins with a vowel letter, vowel sound. Then you cannot use among, you have to use amongst. Of should not be there. Two errors. Now, foreign words, bona fide, de facto, de jure, cul-de-sac, de novo. Bona fide means what? Bona fide student, genuine. C. De facto, in reality. Prime Minister has a power in reality, and President is the head of the country by right, legally. Here it is E. De jure, legal, jury, remember, by right. Cul-de-sac, road closed at one end, a dead end road, cul-de-sac. And de novo, from the beginning. That's all for today. I hope you guys have got enriched. Do remember to subscribe and share. I will provide the PDF in the afternoon, try to access. For that, you have to join the Telegram group.